So good morning. So I'm going to restart this meeting with the second part of today. So after the break, this is the second session of 28th of October of February. The first part will be allotted, and the second part after the break as well, for handling the different exercises of the session of today. So I'm going to share going to continue by explaining the slides of the problem of drill down techniques. So the same, if you have any questions to tell me, so please put in contact with the email, or if you understand anything, so it would be to send me an email and explaining if you want to explain some clarification. I think it's very clear. So the exercises of today, remember the first time is talking about the 6 hacks examples, and the second has to do with the technique of the 5 whys. So it's it's not very complicated to do these exercises for today. Okay. Anyway, you have any question that you can understand anything, you can send me any clarifications, whatever it is. Before the break, we will start by explaining the introduction of drill down. So it's drill down, as we explained before, is techniques in trying to break the complex in smaller parts. So we explained that will be to start by putting the problem on the left hand. So, and then we have some explanations about the process of breaking the problem. So they can accelerate it, the solution of the problem. In this, you can repeat it as much as possible to get the root cause of the problem. So repeat the process. So it could be useful to get a better understanding in order to know which factors contribute to a cause. So this is the idea in terms of drill down. And then before the break, we will start by stating a problem with the owner of a windsurfer club is having complaints from its members from unpleasant quality of the water close to the clubhouse. Well, she needs to use this technique. Sometimes it's common to face you to these activities. You are in a harbor, Alicante, and you state a windsurfer club or whatever, and sometimes the people complain. I don't know why. It's because the smell, perhaps it's petrol, that something is smell like a petrol, or something is about that you find something the water is very dark, or sometimes you see something on the deep of the ocean that it is something strange. It's something there are currents or switch areas or whatever it is. The point I think is clear. So here is my state. It's about the. I wanted to state it in terms of using the drill down problem. How to improve water quality? Water quality. Well, I use this conceptual map in order to know it. Well, we will start by trying to drill down the problem and try to find solutions. How to improve water quality, where you have 4 stages, 4 parts, perhaps comes from the ships and dumping oils and refuse. This is the example that I show in the example before, or the sewage that the outflows, perhaps, or refuse from beaches, or perhaps it's industrial pollutions, or has to do with implementation. You continue to, you can say why, and you can say why the people, the ships, this is drilled down, the second step. So why you say that? Well, perhaps it's cheap to the use to dump this, to put the oil and refuse it. Solutions. I'm trying to find solutions. So maybe legislations, you need to monitor legislations or change legislations, publicity, or monitoring the aircraft, or perhaps it's inspections, and trying to find a solution. So we face a problem that is cheap disposal, and this is the solutions. With using this technique, we might show you solutions. In this chart, for instance, you have why, and you try to, using the conceptual map, different solutions. However, in the terms of sewage outflows, this was the same, cheap disposal of untreated sewage. Well, we might continue by stating more problems. This is the problems that state the sewage outflow, because it's cheap. The problems is unpleasant water quality, and try to find the solutions, perhaps have to related filters or sending out outflows, only dam treated sewage. So there are different solutions that we might tackle to this problem, no? By using, for instance, filters would be one of them. No? Refuse from business, people that are not very concerned about it. People is laziness, lazy people, and the problems is because perhaps has to do with dog feces, or perhaps is the problem is refuse, and trying to find solutions, fakes, and trying to find solutions was public educations, or more litter bins, perhaps, or if it's comes from the agriculture, how to improve water quality, the problem which comes from agriculture and industrial pollutions. It's very common here in the Mediterranean. I think Mar Menor is in Murcia. In Murcia, and they are the people that contaminate this area. No? It's called in Spanish called Mar Menor, very fantastic place, pools of fish. But in 2 years' time, in 5 years, 10 years, they found that the water was very dark. The water, the spices died, the fish died, every shore of species died, and they can't cope with. One of the problems would be perhaps agriculture, but they have no idea. It comes from the fertilizers or whatever it is. No? So perhaps here, in terms of agriculture, we are not clarified. More research is needed. Types or terms of implementation, how to improve quality for water sport implementations. in terms of publicity or political issues. No, it's in terms of publicity, planning is needed, or political. So we said here in tips deep down into problem inequality of water, we break down the problem, the major problem. The major problem is how to improve water quality for water sports in different problems, the problems that can find solutions, the root cause, and the root cause is breaking in other parts. What you see, for instance, the first parts, we break in ships, in sewage outflows, refuge, form beaches, agriculture, and implementation. You continue to breaking down in different problems, for instance, in terms of ships, dumping and all refuse. So you have, for instance, cheap disposals. Cheap disposal, for instance, perhaps further research is needed. Cheap disposal, perhaps, or sewage outflow, the same, cheap disposal. So it's a way that repeat a problem that is repeated in the first one and in the second one. So this is, they call our attentions, perhaps in terms of cheap disposal, it is. Well, the problems of it, here, they show some solutions. So at the same time, we show you some solutions in terms of publicity, legislations, monitoring, for instance, from aircraft or drones or maintenance inspections or PEPs or whatever it is. This is fine solutions. And here the same, you see which problems, prosomises is diseases, perhaps diseases in terms of the water quality. So in water quality, so here we are very well proud about, for instance, the beach of Alicante that is called Postiguet. Some Erasmus decided to come here and visit Postiguet, very nice place. And also we received, the government announced that they have a good quality of water, so they are very proud of it in terms of water quality, because I like, as a swimmer, because I like to enjoy with it. So the same in terms of refuse is another part, refuse from beaches. The same problems perhaps comes from the dogs, defecations of the dogs. So the solutions perhaps are public educations. This comes from it. So we divided the part how to improve comes from different areas. So you need to, perhaps agriculture show you need more information, and implementations need more information. So in very short, we focus on the problem, divided the problem in different parts, and try to find and then redivided the problem in different parts as well. Every part we try to ask questions and try to solve this question. So this is the comes of drill down into a problem. So we have tools is to understanding different, to break the problem in different parts, to understanding the problem and to find a solution. The difference between why here is at the same time we find different solutions. So you see, for instance, the first one, the cheap disposals, maybe it has to do with publicity or legislations or monitoring for drones, to trying to get who are taking this oil and to the water or whatever it is. So example, a lack of responsiveness to clients' inquiries. This is the example. Could be, this is the example, or to client inquiries could be an example to do. By urgent, this is another example what occurs in terms of the clients didn't respond properly. I use the second method. In terms of drill down seconds, I have another method. Well, this is the first approach in terms of drill down. We have other approach inside the drill down. This is, we can start instead of a conceptual map with a table. Could be more easy for me. I like the first one, basically, because they can state by using the conceptual map, you can break the problem. When you can the problem, you can use why techniques, and then you can find the solutions. So with this technique, start where we might start with a table, this different approach. So we might start like this. So this is the example that's lack of responses of clients, and then we will start by explaining it. But as I said before, another approach, it will be by using this table, very simple questions, and the same lack of responses to client inquiries. So perhaps the problem is too busy to read emails. No? Very frequently, when you are inside, you feel that your mate, you send an email and you expect a response very prompt, and you realize that you need to wait more time, wait not too much. You say, well, what is the cause of this? Lack of response to clients inquiries, you see, too busy. This is massive. The folder, as I recommend, for instance, to go to the different workshop. For instance, team management could be very good to handle. This is one, for instance, too busy to read emails, or no one accountable for client interaction. No? Lack of organizational structure, no one accountable for client interactions. Perhaps they are not for poor interactions with the clients. It could be good. In terms of the first one, too busy to read emails, you have two other causes. So we break down in other problems or in other causes that would be bad timekeeping. Why? Too busy to read, bad timekeeping, or bad unwillingness to reach out of habit. No? In terms of no one accountable for client interactions, why? Lack of organizational structure or poor delegations in terms of management. Here you can find the solutions. This is only the problem because I use the basic problem divided in two parts, to busy and no one accountable, and then trying to divide it in another root causes. Root causes, it would be the problem. The idea here is to drill down until the true causes of the problem are found. This, for instance, bad timekeeping could be one of the problems of the lack of responses. So you have two of them, but you wanted trying to find the solutions where the lack of responsiveness to the client inquiries. So in terms of the first one, too busy, perhaps is the bad timekeeping. Sometimes it's true. Sometimes bad timekeeping is true when as you work in different areas, you think that you didn't respond, but it's a bad time, very stress area, and perhaps you need to have patience to receive your email. But this is very difficult to explain to a client. You have to have problem. But in this area, for instance, it's a bad timekeeping. Perhaps we might find solutions, or we'll start by saying why, and by telling why by timekeeping, and then find the solution. This is the difference between whys and this straight down ticket. You break the problem, however, trying to find the correct root cause, but then you express the solution, and the solutions to tackle. For instance, it could be bad timekeeping. You decided to stop it, trying to find a solution for it. And another one is no one accountable for client interaction. The client interactions comes for lack of organizational structure or poor delegations, perhaps poor delegation from management. Well, this involves that there are no interaction with the client. So this is a problem that you need to solve it. So that's the idea in terms of drill down. Here, for example, an initiative to improve organizational structure may be a solution to this problem, and to tackle the problem one, for instance, could be also organizational structure or organizational structure could be good to solve the problem. Perhaps creating some staff position to interact better with the client as well, or something in the middle, perhaps is a middle line manager department or something like that, to avoid the lack of organization structure. So for instance, so this is the difference between whys and the technique of why that will focus on the root. However, here perhaps we find the different solutions, trying to find the different solution or the lack of organization structure. Well, finally, another approach, the third approach of drill down, first is the conceptual map. This is a table, and this is a different, finally, another approach of drill down to get understanding of the root causes. It could be like, first, we divide it in list the problems, it's the same. Just try to summarize this to put in an Excel the different aspects. The first step, list the problems. Well, here are some recommendations. Piece of advice. One of the piece of advice for me is to use the plural we or they. Name the names of the people experience the problems, could be good. So be more specific is very, very important. And put the name. Identify, as I said in the first example of the windsurf club, and the second example of the clients, and that you identify the root causes. And for each problem, every time identify deep reasons behind these actions, and most problems that you need to identify this. Here the same, to get the root causes, for instance, keep asking why. So here, in terms of the drill down, we get advantage by using the technique why. In this second step, we might take advantage by using the technique why. You compare to the first one and the second, you can see the why technique using in this method. The problem, the teams continue working late. Why? Because we don't have enough capacity. Why? Because we inherited new responsibility with additional staff. Why? Because the manager didn't understand the volume of work. Why? Because the manager is bad anticipating problems and created problems. This is the root cause. Well, first step, we thought that the team is working late, but it's not the problem of the team. We are overloaded in terms of capacity to meet the demand, because the new responsibility without additional staff is crazy. The manager didn't understand the volume, and the manager is a bad anticipating problem and creating plan. This is the one. And then is that a creative plan. Here we find solutions. Step away from the world, develop a plan that address the root causes. So this is the differences between what is called drill down technique and what is called why. We take advantage, we put inside the technique why inside the drill down technique, and then create a plan. Plan is to address, plans are to, when you try to achieve this goal, to develop a plan that addresses the root causes. What is the solutions? And you remember, in terms of the cloud, the surf, the club, we surf, when they found different solutions, for instance, in terms of defecations of the dogs, or trying to the sewage outflows, or whatever it is, or the chip disposal, we need to find different solutions. Here, for instance, the correct path might to be first fire some people and replace them better. However, it's the idea is not here. In terms of the working late, you say, oh, well, because the working late is better, the problem is in the people, inside the people. Not, it's not in the people. Perhaps it's because to focus on the management. Everyone must be to best answer for most people are happy. No? Then when you focus on the last execute the plan, put in practice. Let's report on the plan. This is the actions I need to put in practice, the different actions. So this is a good explanations. In terms of the third approach, here I put three approaches in terms of drill down. For me, the best, you want my preferences, is like this, because for me, it's very important to use a conceptual map and try to use this, take advantage of the technique of WISE, as you can see here, and then take advantage, insert here the solutions of inside of different components. So it's an other way to drill down in problem and try to find to find the root cause and find the solutions and put in practice in the plan. Well, apart from the drill down technique for finishing for today, we will start by another technique. Remember that the 2.3 is a drill down technique, is here. This is the example of the question of this breaking problems down into different part, manageable part, but using this technique, drill down technique. Well, the last part of this exercise is about identifying the causes of problem. Well, identifying the likely causes of problems involves to understand what is the diagram or Ishikawa diagram, the cause and effect diagram in terms of Ishikawa diagram. Ishikawa diagram involves to understand, well, cause and effect diagram. Ishikawa said, well, this is it's very, in terms of, perhaps you study quality, you know it to understand it. Well, the term that they take advantage of this strategy, the fishbone diagram. So this is a fishbone diagram. And the fishbone diagrams try to identify possible causes for a problem, First, when you need to use this, when it's preferable to use a fishbone diagram rather than drill down or wide techniques. Well, for my honest opinion, I would say when the others fails. When you said that fails into roots or something like that, so it's time to change to another strategy and to use this fishbone diagram. So fishbone diagram consists on what? Well, very, very simple. It's very, I don't want to be very specific in this area. I explain different generalizations because sometimes people study or some issues or other not. So don't be very, very complicated. I don't want to very complicated to explain this fishbone diagram. Fishbone diagram can be because it's like a fish. It's like the spines of the fish. It's like this, the bones of the fish. You see like this the bones of the fish, which is like a photo of a fish. So this is the first approach. Well, that is at the same time, it is the same, you compare to the other technique. We start by putting the problem on the left side. Here we continue to doing the same. We agree on the problem statement. The problem statement is the fact, what you need to show. So here we write it at the center right of the flip chart or whiteboard and draw a box. You can put at the left as well. So it doesn't matter, depends on the picture, depends on the big picture. You can put it one on the one side, on another on the side. And then you need to use different parts. These parts are interchangeable, okay? You can use others as well. This is the prototype with this story, the talk, the method set, this technique set. But the technique set that you need to divide in 6 parts. However, they can change it. We talk about methods, we talk about equipment, we talk about people. So it's better to say when you are trying to define the cause, the method. The method perhaps that you are saying is not good. perhaps has to do with the equipment. The equipment. You talk the equipment of the people. Perhaps you can find the problem. You focus on the idea of the problem of the windsurfing club. Perhaps a method is not working well. Perhaps is the lab or the lab is not working well, or perhaps is the machines. You remember? Have you? You remember, for instance, the outflows, the outflows of the comes from it. So perhaps it's the pipes are broken, or perhaps it's the machine, the machine that clean the water. The filters is not working well, or perhaps it's the people. Perhaps has to do with the people that test is the water. They don't realize that they about the efficiency of them, so it's not working. Or perhaps it's in materials. Materials are very cheap, that they are broken frequently. Or perhaps has to do with the measurement. In terms of labs, the labs focus on measure. They don't get good results, or perhaps has to do with environment, the environment, other issues. So you can focus on this area with different parts and trying to get the same result. Here is divided this person, this what is Ashikawa, divided in 6 parts. However, you can't talk in order to make generalizations and try to focus on these areas. So let's write as I said before, problem, insert the categories as well, and write the categories of cars as branches from the main arrow. So you have an arrow as a fish, the bones of the fish, and the bone of the fish showing different arrows. And then the last topic is to brainstorm, and brainstorm the causes of the problem. What does it is happen? Each idea is giving the branch from the appropriate category. So you need to write in several places related to several categories. So is that the overall idea in terms of Ishikawa diagram? For me, it's fantastic to use Ishikawa diagram. You say, well, try to use this Ishikawa diagram to find a cause at the main arrow. What is the cause? So if it fails, for instance, the what, or fails, for instance, the drill down experience, it's time to go another step, and then move forward all the other techniques. And this is a fantastic technique. Again, when you just brainstorm these categories in different categories, brainstorm every time. Brainstorming, you need to brainstorm methods, machine, people, materials, measures, environment, and then it's time to ask yourself, why does this happen? Write different subcauses, continue to ask why, as I said before. So in order to know if there are subcauses, then you need to find a solution. When the group runs out of ideas, focus attention to place on the chart where ideas are few. Sometimes there are charts where ideas are few, to focus on it. So this show perhaps it shows something is very common. Well, here for understanding it, I will show you an example. The same. Try to focus on the idea in terms of contaminations, and I'll show you this example. The 5 fishbone diagram was drawn by manufacturing team to try to understand the source of periodic iron contamination. So they found that something is contaminated, and they found the team used to use these ideas. Perhaps they failed with the other strategies by using the drill down technique or drill down the wide techniques, and they failed it, and they decided to start by trying to solve the problem. And here, well, I think so. They start to show these contents, for instance, and here, well, they start by doing this fishbone diagram. So this is the iron product. Here they put on in the iron product on the right. Here you say this is the fishbone. It doesn't matter. Well, sometimes the people put here the problem iron in the product here on the right. And then you go, this is the first approach, this line, this arrow comes here. And then the first what you have to do is to do the bones of the fish. It's like the bones of the fish. You can see it. They allow you divide it in methods, in materials, in measurements, in environments, in manpower and machines as well. How it works? Well, so let's start, for instance, in terms of the first one. And the measure. Remember that, as I said before, the example that I want you to concentrate it. Try to understand the source of periodic iron contamination. Periodic iron contamination. The people try to expose to contaminations and they need to know what happens in terms of contamination. Perhaps it's something that you can use in the windsurf club that use this technique by using the different approaches in this technique as well. So let's start. The first in terms of measurement. In terms of measurement, for instance, lab errors. So you need to come here. The causes of measurement perhaps is a problem of lab. Perhaps it's a problem of solvent contamination. Then here they state some other arrows that is the other subcauses in terms of lab error. Perhaps maybe it's lab error. Perhaps it's something that has to do with calculations. Perhaps it's something that in terms of calibrations or analyze something. Or other issues in terms of measuring is solvent contaminations in labs or suppliers. The solvent contaminations come from suppliers or in lab. Would you talk to materials, for instance, in terms of materials? Perhaps we talk about lab solvent contaminations as well in lab of suppliers or raw materials, for instance, different raw materials that comes from, this is the names, they are very names, is come to the DBT or the water or the AQU2 supplier. It's a product from the supplier 1, from the supplier 2, comes from the iron in product is finding. Iron is sort of periodic iron in contaminations is finding. Well, or perhaps is methods, very, very simple methods. Here is terms of sampling or analytical procedure methods. They find it's the method comes from analytical procedure, or the simple they come from, and this is the different causes. Or machines. Here, the different machines in rusty pipes or heat exchanger leak. Use it, the fishbones try to understand the source of periodic iron contamination. And this is something that is, the iron contaminations is like in this product, in this service, try to prove what happened, what occurs that the iron is in the product is perfect. Look at it, for instance, it could be iron in something that in food or whatever, no? Where it comes from. Perhaps you see you need to stop the production, no? And you need to stop the production. But iron perhaps is very good. Where it comes from. In terms of machines, perhaps they come from machine. The heat exchangers have a leak there, or it's rusty pipes they come from. No? They are heat exchanger leak. Perhaps is the E47 or the E5A3. There are other subcauses that in this machine. Or the rusty pipe, the rusty pipe are general, but sometimes it's a sample point or is the reactor. And when the reactor is out, or the reactor is in, and they belong to the rusty pipes. So there are other issues, or for instance, of material constructions. In terms of the machines, perhaps come from the materials of constructions. It's not about the pipes, it's not about the heat, it's about a leak of the heat, or about the materials of construction. Perhaps it comes from exchangers or the reactors or other pumps as well, and these different names, the cause of it. So I studied that machines in very, very detail in terms of materials or rusty pipe or heat leakers. Manpower is the same in terms of manpower. We will talk about inexperienced analysts, inexperienced analysts, perhaps is or maintenance, maintenance in terms of iron tools or openings, the fines. And so it's like another issue to take in account. Or environmental words, the simple point, when you talk the simple point about the tools or different parts. So this is an overall in terms of different materials. Here, the materials of machines. However, there are other materials, raw materials of lab solvent contaminations. They come from here. So what is the conclusions about this explanation? Well, here I put this try to be concise in this is the machines, for instance. We can understand it, the heading machine, the idea of the materials called show four kinds of equipment. Some ideas appear in two different places, so it's very good to understand. A calibration shows up in methods and in factor, and also under measuring. So calibration, for instance, if you understand the sub-causes ideas, calibrations is in methods and also in the measuring as well. No? So calibrations is in very different areas. For instance, in measure, sub-causes is the lab error. However, calibrations is in other areas. For instance, and here calibration as well. So this is something that is very, very important to understand, that is sub-causes, the calibrations in methods and calibrations here as well. So it shows you something in terms here, for instance, calibration, something that you need to study when they are common sub-factors. Measuring and also under measuring and a cause of lack of error assessment. Error tools can be considered a methods problem when taking samples of manpower problems with maintenance. You study, for instance, methods or manpower, perhaps, or different areas, manpower, the idea of maintenance is something that shock our attention. Call your attentions in terms of personal maintenance here, in terms of manpower, that is very, very, very important. So everything is linking the calibrations, maintenance. Perhaps something that is very common can be considered the major causes of this problem in terms of this tool. So for me, it's fantastic how you work with the problem of iron products to try to show the different ideas and try to get the conclusion. You have different ideas, then you need to focus on which is more, what do you think that you need to make more subcauses in order to find the proper problem. So this is the theory for today. Tomorrow we will start by explaining the module 3. I put these informations. I wanted to advance in terms of the module 3. We try to continue by explaining widening the search for solutions. This is the idea to start by using the concepts first. So then what I'm going to explain is the exercises for today. They are very simple for the people. They don't need to use a lot of well, they are not very complicated for the people for today. This is the examples of the exercise 1 and the exercise 2. The exercise 1, remember that in terms of the first approach of the 27th of February. Here is this the 27th of February. Here, well, in terms of these projects. So you, well, here in your UA Cloud, you will find first 27th practical assignments and 28th practical assignment generating ideas. So first, as this is two exercises, the start-basing methods and how to improve your lateral thinking. Very easy exercises to do that. This is, remember, the exercises that you studied yesterday. And today in the afternoon, according to the coordinator told me that they will be allowed to do this short of exercises. And so this is divided into two parts. The exercise one, by using the star-basing method, the exercises of the stars, and improving your lateral thinking is very simple. There are 6 questions to try to solve it, is what I wanted. There, remember that solutions are not defined, are not very concrete. You can find other solutions. So there are no one solutions. Perhaps your lateral thinking, the way you improve, perhaps find other solution different from my perspective. And then I will correct. Well, when you have it. So I send you, you will send the exercises where I send you my approach. But I don't know, I don't want you to show the exercises online because the people say, well, this is what Antonio says. So I expect you do the exercises and try to do the best. And the second part for today, this is the second part that will be approached, that will be uploaded, is the 28th of February. And you have 2 examples, 6 hard examples. Remember that the technique of being creative in terms, and this is not very simple. I use different, very simple theory. And I know there are others. The root of the problem, drill down, it could be in terms of being more sophisticated, the getting root of the problem, but the simple wise. So it's not very complicated for a student to say, I have a root, I have a problem, I want you to know the root of the problem. So I want you to state me a problem that you have in the university or wherever it is, and you find the root cause of the problem. Remember that you have other choices. Perhaps you can do to improve yourself. You can use the drill down technique, or why not? I can use, for instance, the fishbone diagram by using measures of laptops or wherever. Perhaps there are people that are more used to these techniques because they're studying economics or something like that. But their problems is for everywhere. It's for everybody. You can use as well. They're trying to brainstorming using the fishbone problems is another way to do that. So I think it's all very explaining for today. If you have any questions or you wanted to show you understand anything, so please contact me by email. This is my email here. I wanted to show you. This is my email. This is my email. My email is here. And stay in contact. You don't understand anything about the exercise, the proper answer, please let me know. It would be a pleasure to answer the questions. So for today, so I think I finished the contents for today. You don't have any questions. You don't have any questions about when you check it out, the record 1 and the record 2. So please, you have any question that you understand, any exercises or whatever it is, please at the same. I repeat again, please email me and I try to the best to answer the questions. I don't know if Tamer wanted to say anything about it. That is the coordinator. Tamer, is okay?
Yeah, I would like to thank you, Antonio, for this interesting lecture. And for the record and the exercises, I will upload them around 6 o'clock today.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
So
and I then
remember
I
that
yeah.
the coordinator will be allotted the material of yesterday and material for today. I think so. That so you have plenty of time. Well, don't be very stressful in terms of the deadline. Perhaps we make extra days after the workshop. I think those extra days for finishing the exercises and send to the I think so they send to me, no, at Tamer, no? They send to,
Yeah, most probably to
yeah,
you.
yeah, the exercises, remember the email, my email, and send the exercises for, well, I see you the exercises, perhaps I said my clarifications about it or whatever it is. So thank you very much, Tamer, for staying with us and allows enable me and everybody to, it works perfectly because without the help of the coordinator, it couldn't be possible. So I appreciate it. Very, very grateful your help for being with us.
Thanks a lot, Antonio.
Nothing, and thank you for everybody. And I'm going to cut the mission for today. Thank you very much, and expect to. I hope to come today with new ideas to generating new ideas, new strategies for improving your creativity. Thank you very much for coming, and bye bye. See you
Bye
later.
bye. See you.